Color planning usually involves you staring at a pattern, trying to figure out what color of wool you want to use for your pumpkin or your barn or the roof of a house. I want to take that concept and turn it on its head. Let's think about color planning in a slightly different manner. For instance, when you're an artist, you start with a palette full of colors. You might have certain tubes of paint that you prefer, and you mix them in a certain way, but you typically use the same colors over and over. It's really the same thing with wool. There really are a few colors and a few tones that we use over and over because that's what makes us happy. The important thing is recognizing what colors those are and what wools those are. And it's not hard to figure out, and we'll work on that. But my theory is that if you have a color palette and all the wools in that color palette work together, then no matter what you choose, it's all going to work. It's just a matter of where you put the darks and the lights, where the values are going to go. There's a few things that you need to do your pattern. We need to check to make sure it's square. Let's put our name on it with our cell phone number, so if it gets left behind at a meeting, it can be returned to us very easily. Little things like that. And I've got all that laid out on the color planning checklist. So download the checklist and be ready to kind of go through it as we think about your pattern. Once you have your palette, once you have your pattern figured out, we're going to take a look at the border. Does it have a border? Does it need a border? Do you have room to add a border? I'll show you a method where you can add a border to almost any rug, even if you don't have the room outside the design. Once we have that all squared away, we're going to start making choices on what wool we're going to use. We're going to start with the biggest areas first and knock out the background, because that's usually the biggest area, but not always. And then make those big decisions, because the little decisions will fit in wherever they go. But once we get those big decisions right, we'll have the bones of the rug figured out. And what you'll find is that your rug hooking will become stress-free. You'll be able to hook faster because you know what goes where. You'll have less reverse hooking. And it's going to be more fun again because everything you use is going to work. There are some lessons at the very beginning of the course called theory. Now, if you're anxious to get started into the meat and potatoes of the program, skip to the next section, which is creating your color palette. You can skip the theory for now, but come back later and watch it. It's going to give you a good background so that when you talk color with other people, you know what everybody's talking about, right? So let's get started and let's have some fun and let's color plan your rug.